shortly after 6 o'clock. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Now, this one's not quite as dangerous as the tornado warning that we got over along I-35 near Waco right now, but nonetheless, very heavy rains, damaging winds, and large hail embedded in this particular storm. But that's not the only storm out there. These other storms are also hail producers and very strong gusty winds as well. So be mindful that out west we're getting not only some very heavy rain, but some very nasty weather as well. This actually is kind of some good news because we need the rain to fall into the watershed out to the northwest of us. That's going to feed into all the rivers that make their way into central Texas and feed into our lakes and reservoirs here in central Texas and help bring those water levels up and help our drought conditions, because this is the area where we get our rain. We don't necessarily need 3-4 inches of rain on Temple or Killeen or on Waco. We need it up here in the watershed. That's where the water needs to come to and come downstream to us. So cross your fingers we get some good rains up there and dodge the bullet on the severe weather. Again, we've got a second line of storms out to the west of us that is approaching the I-35 corridor. This action is going to continue for us as we go through much of the evening. And then there's these storms here that we're really mostly concerned with, Meridian to Clifton on down towards Waco along Highway 6. All this action is now moving over towards I-35. Switch over to Max 1 here real quick for me, and we'll get a better look at what's going on the interstate.
You're on Max 1.
Oh, okay. Max 2, excuse me. Max 2.
As a matter of fact, the video you're seeing on the left side of your screen, that's actually from our photographer, Rocky. He is heading toward Waco right now, and you can just see, of course, those extremely dark clouds, kind of ominous looking as he's driving northward. So, of course, we're not seeing any significant activity here along in Bell County. Of course, we are still going to expect to see a little bit more of that activity. You can see, actually, it looks rather sunny outside, so you wouldn't necessarily expect it, but that's why, of course, it's important to be weather aware on days like today. Notice you can just see over the last couple of radar loops, a lot of these showers and storms have begun to just pop up. They're going to be those pop-up showers and thunderstorms, and of course you do have those ones that are strong enough to support tornadic development. And of course, that's why we're actually under a level 3 enhanced SPC risk today, with about a 10% chance for tornadic development. Biggest threat, of course, is going to be not just the large hail, but also those extremely strong and damaging winds. When we're getting reports of anything from golf ball to even baseball sized hail across the region, it doesn't even matter the size of the hail at that point, it's going to cause damage. So if you have a vehicle outside before the storms actually come through, I suggest moving it under any type of cover, whether it's going to be a garage or even just a place with a roof, so you can protect not only yourself but also your personal property as well. So we still have that tornado warning right on top of McLennan County. You can already see, even just from a very wide view, you could see a little bit of that hook. That is going to indicate that tornadic activity pushing its way through much of the region. As I actually zoom in here, yeah, you can see a little bit more of that hook shape as it's beginning. The leading edge of it has already pushed its way along the I-35 corridor near Elmont as well as west. If I zoom in even farther, yeah, you can see just to the south of China Springs, you do have that hook shape. Right around Golson right now, even pushing into Elmont, that very light kind of sky blue, that's a hail core. So that's where we're seeing the most amount of damaging hail coming in. And of course, on the southern end of it, that's where you get the tornado. On the leading edge of it, ahead of the actual hail core, that's where you're getting a lot of the very heavy rain, anywhere from just a couple inches an hour to well over 10 inches per hour. And a lot of this entire system is fueled by the heat. So you guys remember over the weekend, it was about 55 degrees on Sunday. Then on Saturday, and then on Monday, it was only about 65. And of course, yesterday we warmed up into the mid 70s. And now today we're possibly reaching those lower 80s. So you have very fast warming, and heat is what fuels a lot of these showers and thunderstorms and lead to potential instability within the atmosphere, especially when you have a lot of that warm, moist air combining with the cold and dry air. That's typically what we get with a lot of these very strong frontal systems that we're seeing push through. Of course, that's spring in Central Texas for you guys. We get these very strong systems, and they cause a lot of instability in the atmosphere. as we're starting to see a lot of these southerly, southeasterly winds continue to fuel the storm with just ample amounts of moisture. That's why you've been seeing mostly cloudy skies.
Rob, switch over to Max 1 here real quick. I got Jordan here at my side, and we're looking at the storms. I'm looking at this storm north of Waco. It's taking a little bit of a right turn. Can we go to Max 1?
Rob's out right now.
Oh, okay. Well, what I was saying was the storm teams will be taking a little bit of a right turn. We don't like to see these right turning storms because that's an indication of some strengthening going on. It is moving over water, and as I mentioned earlier, they seem to pick up strength as they do. It's moving right across Lake Waco. We're seeing that hail core jump up in size in the latest couple of sweeps of the radar on this storm. And it's drifting towards Waco. And as it does, then we have a problem in town of very heavy rains and strong winds and large hail. Right now it's out in the rural areas of McLennan County to the northwest of Waco, but it certainly looks like it's going to be trying to make its way down. There you go. We got the Max 1 radar loop going on there. Plus, Rocky Bridges, our chief photographer, out on the side of I-35. We're on 35, driving back towards the north, moving into that stuff, trying to catch some of the action that's going on there. Tornado warning in effect till 6 o'clock tonight. That's another 20 minutes from now. I certainly don't see the storm weakening enough that they would not extend the tornado warning on back over into Hill County or into Limestone County as the evening progresses. Certainly a very dangerous storm. We've been hearing reports of these storms back to the north in Bosque County, producing hail up to baseball size. We've got a new storm brewing up here, and the footprints, the outflow, the cold air coming out, giving a bit of a footprint for that storm there, and new development going on there. We've got more storms to the west of us as well. We've got several waves of storms in the progress for us as we go into the evening hours tonight, and it looks like it's going to continue for us. At this moment, Temple, Killeen, Belton, you're in good shape, but the storms out west are making their way towards Bell County, so be mindful that you're going to see deteriorating conditions here in the next couple of hours. The same thing is true over in Coryell County. We had a little bout of storms move their way across northern Coryell County a little bit ago, and we've got a very strong storm in progress. Not tornadic at this point, but a very strong storm out in Mills County as well, which should be approaching Goldthwaite very shortly. I put a new track on that real quick.
While you're doing that, they have just issued a new tornado warning is coming in from McLennan. It will include all of Waco as well as Belmead. Low-level reflectivity is increasing to the south, and stronger inflow into the storm is occurring. So basically those southerly winds are helping to fuel the storm, and as you mentioned, it's starting to make that southward shift, which makes sense as to why they would extend that warning into Waco as well as Belmead. If we switch over to Max 2 real quick, I do have actually, it looks like almost two definitive types of rotation on the velocity, one just to the south of China Springs and one just to the north of about Willow Grove. You're definitely seeing that multiple kind of funnel action going on right here. Of course, if you have the chance to send us pictures, whether it's going to be of hail or damage afterwards, I do not recommend going out into the storm. I cannot stress that enough. Send your photos to us. 254-777-6000. And of course, if you don't have our 6 News weather app or just our 6 News app, text weather, WEATHER, to 254-777-6000. We want to make sure make sure that you get everything. You get your full forecast from us on there. You also have access to the Near Me video function. You take a video on your phone, you submit it to us on the Near Me function of the app, and you get to send us your video, and we might even feature it on air, especially in situations like this. Now, we don't want you to be storm chasers. That is not most of our meteorologists too. We're not storm chasers. We predict the storms, we focus on them, but of course, leave that to the professionals, of course. Here we go. Here's that velocity reading again. Almost 2 different types of rotation. and it's starting to make a slight shift farther to the south. So, of course, that new warning that's going to come out, it's going to start including Belmead. It's going to include Waco. That is not a good sign because, of course, this thing is starting to move around in a more erratic function. Here we go. So there's that new warning coming out right now. Elmont is now on the northern edge of that warning, and it's starting to push farther to the east and farther to the south than what that original warning is. And of course, they've now extended that warning until about 6:30 tonight. So this is obviously a extremely dangerous situation. We want you guys to be safe. We want you to be informed. Stay in your homes. Do not go out and chase it.
All right, well, let's switch back over to Max 1 for me, if we can. Yeah, I want to take a look at the stuff that is the second wave that is moving into our viewing area out west, particularly for our friends in Goldthwaite and Mullen and that area between Goldthwaite and Gatesville. This storm is warned for severe thunderstorm activity, large hail, winds in excess of 50 miles an hour, heavy downpours of rain, and frequent lightning. It is on a path that will take it through Mullen and Goldthwaite here very shortly, crossing over the county line into Hamilton County and Coryell County. It's going to be affecting Evant and Starr and Permella probably in the next 45 minutes or so. You're going to see deteriorating weather conditions very rapidly. It may be a whole lot sooner than that, but nonetheless, we have just a picket fence line of storms that stretches from near the Metroplex south of Interstate 20 down into our western counties now, in addition to the activity that is in progress over on I-35. On I-35, we certainly have a tornado threat in the Waco area. This is going to be a very dangerous evening just about area-wide for us. A tornado watch is in effect for every place basically from Interstate 20 south down into our area. North of Austin, south of Interstate 20 is all under a tornado watch until 10 o'clock tonight for storms like these that are in progress and more that are anticipated to develop as the leading edge of a cold front comes our way as we go through the remainder of this Wednesday evening. I'm going to scooch this back over to I-35. Here's the nasty storm, the one that we're concerned with could produce a tornado. We're getting indications of a tornado on radar. There we go. I'll get in here close on this. And it's very easy to see the storm we're talking about. Tornado warning in effect that includes Lake Waco, includes Elmont. The box on this warning actually stretches from southwest to northeast, but the movement of the storm is more towards the southeast now. And that movement on this storm is sweeping it right across downtown Waco, across Belmead, over towards Robinson, and over much of the area between Waco and Mart and south towards Marlin are going to be affected by this storm as well. A lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain in progress right now. We're seeing some indications of rotation from time to time. And this is just the early stages of what looks like it's going to be a very long weather evening for us here in Central Texas.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have rocky bridges out there. It's starting to, looks like maybe even sprinkle a little bit, but it's very dark, very kind of ominous situation as it's moving in. And of course, if you are in the city of Waco right now, I recommend taking shelter immediately if you haven't already, considering the entire city is under that tornado warning, and it's going to stay in effect for the next about 50 minutes or so. We're still getting large and copious amounts of hail all across the region. We're getting reports of easily about ping pong to even tennis ball sized hail within that actual system. It does not really seem to be weakening all that much, and even the velocity readings within the actual storms are very strong. The one right now up in Hill County, still large amounts of hail all across the region. It starts off small and then continually gets larger and larger as you start to move into the region. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. As you can really see on the actual driving camera, there's just a lot of activity, very ominous as you begin heading farther north toward McLennan County and even toward Hill County. So I do not recommend going on any type of road trip right now. Leave this, of course, to the chasing professionals. And you certainly want to take cover if you are not driving, or even if you are driving, I recommend taking cover if you are in any of these areas. And of course, even if you're not in these areas now, the entirety of Central Texas is under that severe thunder or that tornado watch until about 10 o'clock tonight. So we still have multiple hours of this coming through. We're even getting some of those strikes of lightning across the region. So you're getting not only lightning, but we're also getting a chance for some possible flash flooding, which can lead a number of people stranded. We had an incident on Thursday where it was unfortunate that some individual just got stuck. Their vehicle got stuck in the floodwaters just outside of our station. Now, we're not seeing any flash flood warnings just yet, but this is just the beginning of this entire system as it begins to push its way across much of the region. So let's go ahead and jump right back to that velocity reading. If I keep hitting the wrong button on there. Sorry if I'm moving your graphics, Andy.
There went my research.
So we are starting to see a little bit more of that activity right now, right on top of the region. Oh, okay, so it moved farther back a little bit more than I wanted it to. Here we go right now, right around Bananas Junction, just to the north of Willow Grove. I'm getting those two definite rotations starting to push its way into the western side of Waco. You can definitely see just how zoomed in we are. We're also getting excellent satellite picture of the actual region right now. So this entire tornado warning is in effect until 6:30. So definitely take cover immediately. This is not any kind of drill whatsoever. We were expecting widespread tornadoes throughout much of the day today. Now, of course, if you're in the warning, severe weather is occurring. Take action. So what you want to do, it's rather simple. Get to the lowest level of your home or building or any kind of building. Let's say you're on the road. Let's say you're at work. Get to the lowest level, get to the center, away from windows. You want to also make sure you have your shoes on just in case you need to evacuate afterwards. You don't want to be stepping through a bunch of debris without any shoes on. This is not going, you guys probably saw Die Hard. That doesn't look pretty. Put your shoes on. You want to cover up your head as well. Where to go? Safest place is going to be basement, interior room. That's an image for you, isn't it?
Did you make a Bruce Willis reference there? Die Hard? Okay.
I mean, nonetheless, this is still going to be very serious. You want to stay on an interior room, stairwell, hallway, even if that's the case, because hallways typically don't have many windows, and you want to stay on the low floor. Avoid windows, doors, and of course, outside walls. Any type of debris can be flying. Of course, if you're near a window, that glass shatters, and you don't have your shoes on, again, you don't want to end up in that kind of situation.
Hey, let's swing you back over to Max 1 here. We have two channels on our weather computers here that we share, and I'm on Max 1 looking at a pretty close look over McLennan County and Waco, and there are some concerns now, and I've mentioned this a couple of times today and in severe weather instances in the past when these storms move over across a body of water, be it the Colorado River or the Brazos River or our lakes. They seem to pick up strength from that warm water source into these cold core storms, and it looks like that is happening over Lake Waco as that storm is making a bit of a right turn. It is heading right into downtown Waco and showing some indication that it may try to do something here. Very strong winds are already in progress. We've had winds in the area clocked up to 63 miles an hour. Those are sustained winds. Those aren't just the gusts, but very strong thunderstorm winds. You've got low-level winds off the Gulf of Mexico. You see feeding in the storms, lots of moisture and lots of humidity, but then you've got the storms themselves that generate their winds, their updrafts and downdrafts, and the wind shear, and we're clocking those winds at 60 some odd miles an hour in these storms. A bit of a hail core showing up every once in a while in this time lapse as it makes its way across the northern portions of McLennan County down over Lake Waco, and now spreading very heavy rain across Waco and Belmead into Beverly Hills and Woodway. Hewitt's showing only a couple of sprinkles so far, but I think that that's just a matter of minutes before we start seeing very heavy rains into Robinson and Hewitt as well. Lorena may see it quite rapidly. I think you're probably seeing already very heavy rains over towards Axtell. Mart, I think Mart's probably already beginning to see some moderate shower activity, but a hail core nonetheless showing up just to the northwest of Waco, back over Lake Waco of these storms, and just a terrible weather situation for us this afternoon. Please stay tuned for the very latest on our changing weather conditions this afternoon. Right now, we have a tornado warning in effect for the Waco area. The tornado threat remains very high across McLennan County. Inflow continues to strengthen this storm, as well as the low-level winds coming into the storm. This is a very dangerous storm, probably the most dangerous storm that we've seen in Central Texas this afternoon.
Absolutely. Can we actually go full screen on the camera that we're getting from Rocky? You can really see just the dark and ominous clouds across the region, with large rain bands kind of falling down all over the area. And of course, you can see just on the other side, as you look farther to the left, it looks rather bright and sunny. So we are still seeing just how quickly some of these clouds are moving across the region. So we are starting to see, you know, obviously deteriorating conditions across the area. Here we go. So we can start to see, again, kind of just relatively nice bright clouds, but then you have those very dark, ominous rain clouds. And that's exactly what we're going to start to see, a lot of that thunderstorm activity across much of the region. And I'm also getting reports that we have some hail photos to show you guys. Look at the size of some of that hail, where that's actually reported out of Valley Mills. So
that's baseball size.
That's
hail.
Baseball size. Maybe even a little bit bigger than that. I'm not a big sports guy personally, but we're still seeing extremely. So thank you for sending in those kind of photos. But you're going to see just with the size of something like this. Now, obviously, I'm not to scale, so that would be extremely dangerous. but you know, something the size of your hand is going to be leaving you with a number of different kind of issues, property damage all across much of the region. We want to make sure that you guys are safe. That's why we're here to keep you informed. We are not going anywhere until this system is done, because it is just the beginning of this system. So right now, if you're just joining us, we do have a tornado warned storm that is going to be for McLennan County, including the city of Waco and Belmead. Take immediate cover and immediate action. Behind that actual main cell that we're keeping our eye on are multiple little cells. That's going to be right around Meridian. Has had a large one pass through. It's now right on top of Hillsboro. We got some of them right around Stephenville, Comanche, Brownwood, kind of pushing its way into Goldthwaite and Hamilton. So we're seeing that large line. You got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until about 6:30 or so. It's certainly likely a lot of these are going to get extended. Now, keep in mind, the entire region is under a tornado watch. That's in effect until about 10 o'clock tonight. When that's the case, you're going to see multiple, probably multiple tornadoes coming up from some of these stronger cells. A lot of that kind of sky blue you're seeing in the middle, those are actual hail cores. So you're going to see very large size hail, like the viewers are sending in from Valley Mills. Of course, make sure the hail has finished falling before you come out and take pictures, or that you are filming from a very safe distance. Indoors, we want to make sure that your safety is the most important. That's exactly why we do what we do. Of course, again, here we go. Tornado warning is in effect until about 6 o'clock. It seems like that they've actually shortened it ever so slightly, so that's certainly going to be a good sign for much of the area. But it looks like the one right now, you're still seeing that definitive hook shape across much of the region, kind of pushing its way in from Banana Junction to Belmead as well as Waco. Extremely strong hail core across the area. This again is going to stay in effect until about 6:30. We're looking about right around Axtell and Elk right now. Another it's going to be extremely dangerous to be this time. We want to make sure that you guys are safe.
Check out some of these soft hail reports that we're getting around central Texas. Bosqueville is reporting softball-sized hail. Just to that puts that out. And grapefruit-sized hail being reported outside of Waco, the Beverly Hills area. We're getting producer tells us we have hail. China Spring. There you go. Look out the back.
It looks almost like snow in all reality. It's going to encompass. It's also going to be extremely slippery because of the extremely strong form, and then even fall to at least 70, 80 degrees outside right in a short bit.
Forms. You've got the updrafts and the downdrafts. Ground level may be in the mid 70s here right